Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 167 of Crunch Time with the N3262. I'm going to be your host today, Sam Godsey, and with me today, as always, is Tanner Dillon. Tanner, how you feeling today?
Sam, I am doing well, my friend. A lot of stuff to talk about for sure. I mean, NBA playoffs in full swing. I mentioned I called for the Knicks to play a little bit better. Obviously, they were helped out by the referees, which I'm sure we'll get to later, but they ended up taking both in Detroit. They're up 3-1 and returning back home. And if you look at atop the who has the most wins and the best record in Major League Baseball, that would be your New York Mets. So I am sitting. I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm doing pretty well.
There you go. So, we're going to be talking a lot about the NBA playoffs and the a little bit of the NFL draft. Tanner, let's kick it off as we always do. Who is your winner of the episode?
Yeah, Sam, we had a little bit of history on the baseball diamond. Somebody by the name of Eugenio Suárez, the third baseman for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Uh, Over the weekend, Sam, I believe it was on Saturday, he had a 4 home run game against the Atlanta Braves. He became the 19th player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in a game. Pretty impressive stuff. And when you look about that number 19, I mean, obviously, Major League Baseball has been going back since the 1800s. That is a ton of baseball games, a ton of baseball players to play in those games. But the most probably the most famous feat that happens in baseball is the perfect game. There have been 24 perfect games and 19 4 home run games. So I do think perfect game will always be the top tier achievement. But if you go by the numbers, this one's
Yeah,
rare, and this one happens less. Now the kicker about all this, Sam, not only did he have 4 home runs, obviously a major feat. I believe there were a handful of guys to do it within the past couple of years. I'm trying to think I think the last person to do it before him might have been JD Martinez, who
yeah,
did
in
who
2017.
did it as an Arizona
Yeah,
Diamondback. So interesting things going on in Arizona, absolutely mashing the baseball. But the kicker about all this, Sam, they lost the game. They lost eight
of
seven in
course.
extras.
Of course. Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, that was definitely one that was on my radar for winner of this episode. But for my winner of the episode, dropped this morning, talking about the Hawkeye legend George Kittle. He is staying in San Francisco for a 4 year, $76.4 million contract with 40 million guaranteed. So absolute becomes the new highest paid tight end in the NFL. Jumped Arizona Cardinals Trey McBride. This dude's an absolute stud, very deserving of it. 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All Pro, 7,308 yards, 45 touchdowns on 538 receptions. So just an absolute stud and well deserved.
Shout out Georgie, like you said, Hawkeye legend, man.
Now let's flip over to the other side, Tanner. Who is your loser of the episode?
Yeah, Sam, it brings me great pain to talk about this because I just really hoped this guy would have a better season. But I'm gonna go with Devin Williams. Now, I don't know if you know, some people out there who don't pay as much attention to baseball know who Devin Williams is. Now, Devin Williams was the closer for the Milwaukee Brewers for a very long time. Um, for a very long time, he was the best reliever in baseball. Let me read you these numbers from 2021 to 2024. 2.5, 1.93, 1.53, 1.25. Those are his ERAs in those 4 years. Saves, his 2021, he had that 2.5 ERA. He had not quite taken over the closer role yet because they had Josh Hader on that team. So he only had 3 saves. But in 2022, when he took it on full time, 15 saves, 36 saves in 23, and then 14 in 24. He was injured a little bit in 24, so he didn't pitch as many games. This guy has been an elite pitcher, closer in Major League Baseball. Well, the Brewers were down. They were up 2-0 against the New York Mets in the playoffs. They were down. They had the Mets down to their final 2 outs, in which Pete Alonso hit a 3-run home run against Devin Williams and officially broke him. In the offseason, he was traded to the New York Yankees, and it's a shame that for them he has really struggled. I mentioned all those numbers before. Yeah, this year he has a 10 ERA. 10 ERA. He has pitched 9 innings and given up 10 earned runs. He's given up 10 earned runs, 12 total runs. It has not been good for Devin Williams. He has been really bad, and Yankees fans have been upset. He's blown a couple games that they should have won. And as of a couple days ago, manager Aaron Boone has taken him out of the closer's role. He will not be closing games anymore. So yeah, that's tough if you're the Yankees. I guess the silver lining is that this is, he's in a walk year, so you're not tied up long term to him financially. You did just trade for him, so you lost some prospect capital, but it's been a rough go for Devin Williams, who is no longer the closer of the New York Yankees.
Yeah, that is brutal. But for my loser, it's gonna be crazy girlfriends, and of course, I'm talking about Jordan Hudson, the 24-year-old girlfriend of 74-year-old Bill Belichick. If you haven't seen
We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about it. I'm going to talk about it then. Just absolutely absurd what went on in the CBS Sunday Morning interview. Was supposed to be a promotion of Bill Belichick's new book, The Art of Winning. And basically, Jordan Hudson kind of took over it. She was off to the side for majority of the interview, but interjected on the clip. She interjected once when the interviewer asked, how did they meet? She interjected, said, we're not talking about that, which is just super weird, because in a past interview, they've supposedly met on a flight, but that more has come. So that was just super awkward to begin with. It's just an awkward interview from the jump, with Bill Belichick wearing a half ripped up Navy sweatshirt, but supposedly more has come out about this interview that Hudson actually walked out for 30 minutes expecting Belichick to follow her, and she didn't. And now she's releasing emails about how Belichick didn't really want this grandiose hype train with the book promotion, but just absolutely absurd thing going on with Belichick, his relationship with Hudson.
Just bizarre, man. Like, wasn't there something that came out like that she was CC'd on all recruiting emails from UNC?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's definitely very weird, and like just
78-year-old is being controlled by his 24-year-old girlfriend. Like, so strange, man. I don't even know. Like, I encourage everyone to go watch that clip, because I think that's the, like, it's like, obviously the takeaway is it's just so awkward. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's almost like CBS Sunday Morning didn't tell Bill that we have this interview, and they just kind of showed up at the house, and Bill was just kind of like, all right,
and then
I guess
in his clothes he wore to bed last night, and then she's there and monitoring what gets said. Like, what?
Yeah,
very, very bizarre situation, without a doubt.
Yeah, but yeah, she interrupted, and they didn't. So NBC Sports Pro Football Talk reported they didn't know the number of interruptions. It's our understanding that CBS decided to include that one specific instance because it wasn't a one-time ordeal. She has also made her presence known at the UNC spring practice. She was there. That Belichick wanted her CC'd on all emails between him and the senior associate AD for external affairs and strategic communications. Yeah, it's just a super weird relationship. But I guess I don't know where the next moment is going to be, but I'm sure there will be one.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, I don't even know. Very strange, like you said. I can't say anything about UNC football all that often. So the good news is that it won't take over our everyday lives. We'll just see some weird clip and be like, dude, what is going on? In one of the weirdest situations. But it is what it is, I guess. Love is love? Question mark.
Love is love. We support love.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
But Terry, you ready to talk some NFL?
Let's do it.
So the NFL draft happened this past weekend, and for the first three picks, it went kind of as expected, seeming pick by pick. Okay, yeah, whatever. First day goes by, first two rounds. Shedeur Sanders has not been picked. And there's an absolute uproar, Tanner. We all saw the Mel Kiper just absurd rant where even Reese Davis had to interject, basically saying that for 50 years we have incorrectly scouted quarterback, something like that. Can't remember exactly what he said, and it was a weird draft. I mean, Jalen Milroe got drafted before him. Dylan Gabriel got drafted before Shedeur. Jackson Dart got drafted before him. So it was very weird. And finally, fifth round, he gets drafted by the Cleveland Browns, who two rounds before drafted Dylan Gabriel. Talk to me about this situation, man, because as great, like, it wasn't a very, like, it was a very expected draft for the most part. So Shedeur Sanders really did take control of the storylines of this draft, but talk to me about that.
First off, everybody relax. Okay? Everybody relax. Did Shedeur Sanders drop farther than I expected and a lot of people expected? Yes. Did he get drafted? Yes. Will he have his shot to play in the NFL? Yes. If he's good in the NFL, will anyone talk about him dropping to the fifth round? No. I mean, it'll be like, like he becomes a success. Maybe it'll be brought up. Oh, and can you believe how many teams passed on him? And then we move on. Like it doesn't like affect really. Like it doesn't really affect anything. Like maybe there's some early season, like some early compensation things that it affects, but like let's relax here. Everybody relax. It's okay. He dropped farther than I expected. I have huge questions about his character. A lot of people do. There are numerous clips. I think the biggest thing for me, there are numerous clips of him all but blaming his teammates, everybody but himself. Whether or not he's lying, Colorado's offensive line was consistently known as one of the worst in college football. Obviously, we all know that. Obviously, the response to that statement, everyone, like, I feel like everyone defending him, the response is just like, oh, so he didn't lie. Like, is there spot the lie? That's not the point.
Yeah.
In no time in the history of sports is it acceptable to blame your teammates. Not once, ever. And good teammates and good character players never do that. How many times does every single athlete in the history of sports someone says, "Oh, that one guy who missed the layup to end the game." Like what he's like, well, I missed a shot. Like they always bring it back to what they can do better, what the team can do better, and how. And newsflash, everybody, teams picking high up, they're bad. I don't like the whatever spot. Like people expected him to go maybe to the Giants. Guess what? The Giants' offensive line, they're bad.
Yeah.
Is he going to go out and say, "Oh yeah, well, how many times does Patrick Mahomes get touched? How many times does Josh Allen get touched?" After like blaming your teammates is particularly a key issue when you're a top draft pick, because guess what? The reason you're a top draft pick is because the rest of your team sucks.
Yeah.
So that's a particular issue, and I could see why teams didn't want to draft that. The whole the making the draft all about him and his. I mean, obviously it is about him for his draft party, but it was particularly strange how big they went with it. It's just not a good look, man. And like it's obviously the race stuff gets played into it, and I could count how many people who drafted were black. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. It's just he dropped further than I expected. But I tell you, everybody relax. It's okay. He's going to get his chance to play in the NFL. And he got drafted by a team that has a big gaping hole at quarterback. So,
yeah. And I think the key here is how overhyped he was. Because everyone was saying, he's first rounder. But a lot of insiders talk that have relationships with the decision makers of NFL teams said that no one had said, "Oh, we're taking Shedeur."
Yeah, we're making it a point to draft Shedeur.
Yeah, and is he a good player? Yes,
he's got a ton of talent.
But now, did I expect him to drop as far as he did? No, if I made a mock draft, I probably would have had him as a 2 or 3 best in the rounds.
Like second or third round?
Second or third round.
Okay.
Not second or third quarterback like a lot of people.
Yeah, I probably would have been at the very latest third round.
Third round is
where I would have been.
And if you don't think his personality played a role, I mean, he how many things did he opt out? He opted out of this Senior Bowl, opted out of like the East versus West Bowl. He opted out of throwing at your pro day, opted out of so many things that, to be fair, if you think you're going number 1, you probably do opt out of.
Yeah.
But I think this had way more to do with his personality and the baggage that comes with him. More than the on the field. I mean,
I totally agree. I think I'm not worried about the opt outs, to be honest. Like there are a lot of prospects who have nothing to gain but stuff to lose from those combines and Senior Bowls that opt out. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. It's literally just, I think, what he said, what his dad said. Like they're gonna veto some people, like Eli Manning style.
Yeah.
Like what?
Mm-hmm.
What? Like everything you saw about him was I'm the best. Teams are lucky to draft me. When I get there, everything will be about me. And every decision they make will have to be about me. And that's not how this works, man. Your dad's not the coach anymore. You're not getting a Mickey Mouse jersey retirement anymore. This is the freaking NFL, man. And this whole idea that they were, there was like almost like blackmailing, or there was like a cabal to not draft him. If one team in the NFL thinks they can get an advantage by drafting him when no one else will, they will do it. I promise you that. I will bet every single dollar I have to my name that if a team thought he would help if he would help their team before he was drafted, he would have been drafted there. I can promise you that. They just didn't. So that's where we are. And then to address the Mel Kiper stuff, I actually like obviously hilarious, right? Seeing it was a grown man crash out on live TV like that is absolutely hilarious. I would argue that there is no institution in the history of mankind that has been better at assessing quarterback talent than the NFL. They have a lot of misses, but boy, do they have a lot of hits. Boy, do they have a lot of hits.
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, maybe there's a few college teams that you would say, oh, they have, but the thing about college is that it's much easier. Like, that you bring them in for 1 year. If they suck, you transfer portal. You tell them transfer elsewhere. You get someone else. Like NFL, you can't really do it as quickly as you can in college. So I would argue that the NFL is literally the best institution at evaluating quarterback talent in literally the history of planet Earth.
Yeah, that was wild. Especially over a guy like Shedeur. I mean, it'd be one thing if like crashing out over like Cam Ward dropping, like I'd understand that, but let's not act like he was just some ridiculous like Heisman level.
That's it. He was
like never... I saw people comparing it to Johnny Manziel, which is absurd.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely
right.
absurd.
I saw that. Yeah.
They're not even in the same realm when it comes to college football players. But yeah, it's just crazy. I think I don't know if you've seen any of the clips from Chris Carter on the Fully Loaded podcast, but if you haven't, go check that out.
That's like Vikings Chris Carter, like the wide receiver,
yep,
right? Okay.
Yep, Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Yep. He basically said, Shedeur did this to himself. They overplayed their hand, them thinking he is in the same evaluation mode as Eli Manning. They didn't play that right. Not working out at the combine, that wasn't the right thing. Interview process could have done a lot better. Left the meeting feeling he was very entitled. Just his thoughts on it and hearing what he had to say, being a player that has been through that process, was definitely interesting to hear. So go check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think the bottom line here is he was never in Heisman conversations. He won like 12 total games in college. He threw his teammates under the bus repeatedly. Talked about how he and his dad would filter through teams that would try and draft him as if like that's the level he was on. And it's just obviously teams didn't appreciate that. And there are a ton of prospects out there who don't do that stuff. Because guess what? That's what normal humans do when they get drafted. They say, thank you so much for this opportunity. I will not let you down. Let's go win football games. Let's go win a Super Bowl. Obviously, they're different mentalities, man. And I think nothing said it better than Cam Ward just being like, when what's his name asked, when Shedeur asked Cam Ward, it said, yo, let's hop on a song together. And he's like, dude, what? I don't do that. I play football, man. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like when I want people to look up my name. I want them to see I'm an American football player. And he's like, and Shedeur goes, damn, you don't even have hobbies. And he's like, nah, I just want to play football.
And like, that's not to say that they can't have hobbies, but some people just literally, it's a sport, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play football. I don't care about hopping on some song. Like, it doesn't appeal to me, man. I want to play football. And then one went number 1 and one went in the 5th round. So
yeah,
take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, but pretty basic draft day here. You got any thoughts on your Vikings draft picks? Got an O-lineman from Ohio State, Donovan Jackson, wide receiver from Maryland, Ty Felton, defensive lineman from Georgia, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, Kobe King from Penn State at linebacker, Gavin Bartholomew, on from Pittsburgh. Got any thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, overall, I think one thing about me, a giant pet peeve of mine is when people act like they're draft experts, and when they make a draft that their team drafts a player that maybe they wouldn't have drafted if they were the GM, that immediately this team sucks. Like we've all seen the clips, the Bills fan booing when Josh Allen got drafted. There's literally a Chiefs fan that when they draft Patrick Mahomes, he says this is why this franchise will never win another Super Bowl.
Absurd.
Um, these people get paid a lot of money to make these decisions. Now they will not always be correct. Obviously, I'm not saying GMs will always know best. But they will know better than you sitting on your couch. I can guarantee you that. I can absolutely guarantee you that. So I've never been like again, I probably would not, I would have opted for other quarterbacks other than JJ McCarthy. But guess what? I'm gonna root like hell for JJ McCarthy because the person who made that decision knows a hell of a lot more about football than I do. So that is my 2 cents about that. But all in all, I like the positional mix. Definitely, where things kind of fill in. You can never have too many wide receivers. Obviously, wide receiver is probably the position the Vikings are the deepest at. But they got just another young stud. Jalen Naylor, who was the breakout candidate last year, he's in like the fourth year of his deal, so maybe they're looking at a potential cheap replacement there with Addison and Jefferson being the headliners there. The first round draft pick, the offensive lineman, they dumped a lot of money into their offensive line. They got a new center, a new guard, both from the Colts, and Donovan will come in and probably play guard. All indication is that he will play guard. Donovan Jackson, that is. For Ohio State, he was a guard for most of his career. Although last year there was an injury. There was an injury to their left tackle, so he kicked out to tackle, and he played tackle in their last 4 games. Guess how many quarterback pressures he gave up in 4 games at tackle when he's a natural guard?
1.
2.
Damn.
He gave up 2. Mind you, those 4 games were all in the playoff and were against Tennessee in the first round, Oregon in the second round, Texas in the third round, and Notre Dame in the championship.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good competition. So, he's gonna slot right in. He's gonna play. He's gonna be right in that left guard position with Will Fries on the right guard over at right guard, and it should be a much improved offensive line, and that's I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah. As for the Cowboys, took Tyler Booker, guard from Bama, with the 12th pick. Donovan Ezeruku, edge rusher from Boston College. Siobhan Ravel, cornerback from East Carolina. Round 5, they took Jadon Blue, running back for Texas. Shamar James, linebacker, Florida. Ajani Cornelius, O-line, Oregon. Jay Toya, defensive tackle, UCLA. Phil Maffa, from Clemson, running back, and Tommy Aking-Bisote, defensive tackle for Maryland. Nailed all those names, but I'm not gonna act like I know these dudes. I haven't watched much film. I probably won't watch much film on them, being honest, but I do know the guard position is going to be a problem next year. Zach Martin plans to retire after this year, so Tyler Booker seems to be a good fit. I saw a lot of people liking that actually do this for a living. So overall, I mean, sure, I guess we'll see how it pans out. Obviously, way too early to tell, but that's kind of where our teams are sitting after the NFL draft. But Terry, you got anything else?
I tell you, I just had a quick story. It's funny because there's a specific guy that's kind of why I have this attitude towards mock drafts. Like, I don't know I don't know anything about this. Like, I'm gonna leave it up to the GM who gets paid a lot of money to make these decisions. Because there's one particular draft pick of the Vikings that I was so excited about. I was like, this guy is going to be awesome. And I'm sure, Sam, you remember him in college. He was a wide receiver for Ole Miss, known as Laquan Treadwell was his name. And the Vikings drafted him. And I was like, I love this guy. Like he was so good in college. Like this guy's gonna be awesome. And he was terrible in the NFL. Was like Vikings was on the Vikings for like maybe 3 years, didn't do anything, and then maybe he was released, and then his NFL career was over. And so that was the point where I was like, maybe I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not good at saying who's going to be a good draft pick. So turns out I'm not.
And like, I mean, just like the misses we've seen from like even guys that like do this for like Carson Wentz. I obviously had success early on, but where's he? I think a better
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, Trey Lance. I mean, he hasn't been a starter since he's been in the league.
And that's the 49ers, man. That's a franchise that like always makes the right decision.
Yeah.
And they traded everything they had to go up and get Trey Lance.
But then you have guys like Brock Purdy, who like
49ers,
who wasn't a highly sought after prospect, good college football player, but he's now a starter. And like I remember,
and started a Super Bowl.
I remember people were livid when Josh Allen got drafted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like, dude, what against Iowa? And I know
anyone with two eyeballs at that game. Both you and I were there. Our first home game as college students at Iowa. Anyone with two eyeballs saw that and went like, "Damn, that guy's good."
If he had anybody worth a shit at wideout, he would have thrown for.
You could tell
50 yards.
You could tell that dude had an absolute rocket of an arm, and that dude was a pretty awesome talent. Now, I didn't think he was obviously going to be a future MVP. I can't predict, but I was like, that guy is good. That guy is
NFL ready.
Yeah, that guy is good. I can see why people like.
Yeah, for sure. But Terry, you ready to talk about some NBA?
Yeah, I think there are a few other picks that I obviously the Cam Moore going to Tennessee, the Travis Hunters of the world. The Jaguars giving up a lot to trade up for him.
Yeah.
That should be interesting. Another one I kind of want to point out is a pick I really like just because I like the organizational mindset. That was the Carolina Panthers, man. Like at this point, if you're the Panthers, Bryce Young showed a lot of promise in the second half of last year. You said, screw this. We're going out and we're getting him the best wide receiver, I guess, whatever you count Travis Hunter as. The best pure wide receiver in this draft in Ted McMillan. Kind of the same mindset. Obviously, I don't think he's as slam dunk of a prospect as the Bengals when they went and got Jamar Chase. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, you need offensive line. They said, screw that. We're going to get him his guy to throw the ball to, and they're going to be a damn good duo for years to come. And look how it worked out for Cincinnati. And Carolina's trying to do that mold as well. So I did want to mention that. But overall, I don't think there was a ton of just like top end talent that were just like, I can't wait to see them play in the NFL. I can't wait to see them play in the NFL, type of stuff.
Yeah. I think the most obviously Shedeur dropping that, but like Jackson Dart being the first quarterback taken, supposedly from what I've seen, the Giants loved him since January. So they got their guy, but
and that's all you can say. Like if an organization labels them, that's our guy, we're gonna go out and get our guy. More power to them.
Yeah,
and if you're wrong, you're wrong. I hate when teams just like kind of like are indecisive and are like, maybe this will work, and then they talk themselves into it. Yeah. They said, no, screw that. Did you see that Giants GM his son tweeted out like on the day of the draft, put on his Instagram story just like Jackson Dart highlights?
Yeah.
I wonder which way they're going here. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. But
to be fair, he's the same one who told his dad to go get Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Dude. Maybe the kid knows ball. But yeah. Really not too exciting of a draft. Honestly, the Shedeur stuff made it way more interesting.
I think it was just in general a down draft, and then when you had something as high profile as Shitter dropping, it just everything was the storylines were just completely taken over.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else, man?
No, I think that's it, man. I think it's again, I'm happy. I'm somewhat happy with the Knicks draft. It seems this was on
Vikings.
geez, the Vikings. I'm watching the next game right now. I'm happy with the Vikings draft. And also according to part of my take, apparently I had Peter Schrager on. Apparently he said that the Vikings were ecstatic with their draft. So that makes me happy. I trust the people in charge there. So that should be pretty fun, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how this goes. And again, if your team chose the worst type of fan out there is someone who roots against a draft pick just to be right instead of rooting for their team. And
yeah,
that's the worst type of fan out there. So relax. It's okay. Root like hell for their number one pick and take it from there.
yeah, absolutely. But let's talk some NBA playoffs now. We'll kick it off in the Western, then just go from there. Thunder Grizzlies, Thunder sweep. This series was never the last two games they were close, but Ja got hurt. Series over. Any thoughts on this one, man?
Went about as we thought. Obviously, that we mentioned the one game as Pete Armstrong just hit another home run, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it went how we thought. There was that one game where with the comeback and when Ja got hurt, Ja said, "Oh, we had him figured out." No, you didn't, man. You just didn't. Give it up. It sucks that he got hurt. Obviously, that was the kiss of death, the nail in the coffin. That once that happened, we knew where it was going. Not that we didn't before, but truly was the nail in the coffin. But yeah, in general, I don't think there's much to take away from that.
Yeah, yeah, nothing crazy. The last game was close. Felt like the Thunder were on cruise control, but Thunder got at 10 with about 6 minutes left, and Grizzlies just ran out of time. But moving on to the 4-5, the Nuggets versus the Clippers, Tanner. Series tied 2-2 with game 5 tonight on night of recording. Tanner, this has been by far the best series. Game 4 came down to a final tip and dunk, whatever you want to call it. But talk to me about this series.
I mean, I think all I can say is grab your popcorn.
Yeah.
Like these are two incredibly talented teams that probably underperformed for what their season's expectations were. It's the 4-5. You know, the records are similar. Everything's similar. The games so far, I mean, the 4 games, have been decided by game 1 was by 2, game 2 was by 3, game 3 was the blowout, but game 4 was by 2. So 3 of the 4 games have been decided by 3 points or less.
Yeah.
Like this series rocks, man. Like there's really not much else to say. And what is it? Game 5 is tonight.
Yeah.
It is tonight. So on Tuesday, night of recording. So hopefully we'll get another banger. Obviously, a pivotal game 5 with in the 2-2 series and such a close series. But yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, there's star power on either side. You got Jokic, you got Kawhi, you've got Jamal Murray, you've got James Harden. Like, I don't really know what else to say other than this series has been awesome. And if anyone out there is looking for that NBA playoff series to really be like, this is playoff basketball, it's this one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that last shot by Jokic that everyone's calling a pass, but just wasn't. But Aaron Gordon was in the right place at the right time. And
I don't know if I've ever seen a buzzer beater as close as that.
Yeah, it was the closest review I've ever seen. I was like, I had no idea what this call they kept with the call on the on the floor, which I think was the best because I don't think there was a great indisputable evidence. But if you're looking for a series to watch and you're just wanting basketball, this is the series to watch. But Tanner, moving on to that Lakers Timberwolves game, Minnesota up 3-1. Tanner. And is that dude?
And sorry, what?
Ant is that dude.
Ant is that dude. Yes, Ant is that dude.
Holy shit.
He is. I mean, it's in this age, everybody, anytime anyone does anything, we have to compare him. We have to the closest we've seen to blank. Closest we've seen to blank. It's really hard to not see the Kobe Bryant and Anthony Edwards and well, I think we'll get more into this in a later series because anytime you talk about the NBA, of course, you have to talk about foul baiting, flopping, complaining to the referees. He just plays physical basketball, not dirty basketball, but physical basketball. Lets whoever's guarding him know I'm here. I'm physical. I'm gonna guard you. You're gonna guard me. We're gonna have to be chest to chest a little bit because this is grown man basketball. And that's awesome to see. And in a sport where too many stars are flailing, throwing their arms up in the air, and
unfortunately, two of the worst are on each of our teams.
And it sucks to say because I love Jalen Brunson, man. And it's like there are definitely times where it's gotten bad, and like I didn't think it was bad last year. This year, it's pretty bad. Yeah. That's like the first year where I've kind of noticed and been like, damn, like that's not good at all. But anyway, like I just love watching that kid. I love watching him play. The Timberwolves are fun. And that's really all I can say. And it would be awesome to see a team as likable as the Timberwolves just kind of wipe the floor with a team that's as unlikable as the Lakers.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point that Ant kind of has that Mamba mentality, it's not like he's bowing up against Austin Reeves. He's taking on LeBron. He's taking on Luka. He's not backing away. I mean, how many clips have we seen him just absolutely bullying LeBron? But it is very clear. Stop me if you heard this story before. The stars of a LeBron team needs help and they don't have it because they invested all their money in two players. We've seen it with LeBron and AD. We've seen it with LeBron and Kyrie. We've seen it with LeBron and
should we go back to our favorite game?
What you got?
How many minutes did the Lakers starting center play in their most recent game? That's a little jingle. I just came up with it. Jackson Hayes started again. How many minutes did he play
in game 4?
In game 4.
24.
4 minutes. He did record. It was a very productive 4 minutes. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist.
So who was playing the 5?
I mean, from what I can tell, Hachimura's their starting power forward, so I guess they just elevate him. But like 6 points off the bench from the Lakers, and the starting center played 4 minutes.
You're playing
Dorian Finney-Smith played 40.
You're playing Rudy Gobert and Nas.
You're playing a team that literally had so many centers. Had so many centers.
I forgot Julius Randle's on.
They had so many centers that they had to trade one away, and they got a power forward back.
There you go.
They got height, man. They got height.
Crazy. But this. If you look at the scores, it seems they're close, competitive. Unfortunately, Luka and LeBron haven't really been on the same page. Luka has been battling, had the stomach bug in game 3, but he was back to normal, had 36 in game 4. But it seems that LeBron and Luka just don't have much help, and the T-Wolves do. I mean, how many times have we seen Jaden McDaniels turn into an NBA All-Star in the playoffs? It's absolutely absurd what that guy does in the playoffs.
What was it? Yeah, they have Kevin Durant, but we
have Jaden McDaniels. Or Jaden, something like that.
Yeah. That's absolutely hilarious, dude. Dude, I'm telling you, it worked against the Suns too. They won that series. It seems like they might win this one here. With the closeout
Yeah,
game tonight or
they
tomorrow
got
night.
Katie, but we got Jay
Yeah.
McDaniels. That was the quote.
Yeah, they got
But
LeBron, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
dude, maybe it's crazy. Like,
Anthony Edwards, future NBA GM.
yeah, for real. But moving on to this next one, 2v7. Rockets versus Warriors, Golden State up 3-1. Here, this has gotten super chippy. Game 4 was the chippiest of them all. But the Warriors are up 3-1. Talk to me about this.
The boogeyman. I mean, he's the boogeyman. He can't be stopped. He just owns the Houston Rockets franchise. And I don't really know what else to say. I really like Alperen Sengun. Like, this guy can really play at 31 in game 4. The only problem is Steph Curry's on the other side, and then when he's not, first, if you're lucky enough to get a Steph Curry off game, Jimmy Butler just has 27. I'm not even going to try this last name. He had 26 on the Warriors.
Podesmetsky or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. He had 26. Like, they're just there to pick up the slack when you need it, and that was Steph Curry's off game when he had 17, but in game 3 he had 36.
Yeah,
and that's what you expect from a Warriors team, and the Rockets are just too young right now, it seems.
Yeah, and we got some classic Draymond Green appearance in game 4. He got into it with Terry Eason. We also got textbook Dylan Brooks. He was talking shit to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler just took him out on a fast break. There were 4 techs, a flagrant one in the second quarter. Curry got tech, Brooks got tech, Draymond Green got tech, Quentin Post and Jabari Smith also flailed their arms at each other, but avoid technicals upon replay review. So there's probably some more there. But yeah, this has been super chippy, super fun to watch. Games have been competitive, but when you got Steph Curry on one side and not on the other, this is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a Rockets team that is really young. They're talented. They just don't have there's no answer for a guy like Steph Curry for this series. And
moving over to the east side, Cavs just obliterate the Heat 4-0. This was never a series. Game 4, 138-83, led by as many as 60. And the Cavs won by a combined 122 points.
Jeez. Did you happen to see the screen grab from the game yesterday?
I've not. I don't think so.
At one point, I believe it was 72-25.
Close game.
72-25 at halftime. I mean,
thank God the Heat made the actual tournament.
Yeah,
like the play-in is exactly what the NBA needed.
Yeah, no, thank God for that play-in. That Heat Bulls game was some of the best basketball we're gonna see. I'm really glad we got it. And the score at halftime was 72-33. So
Close game.
Yeah, just really, really good stuff coming out of the Heat there. Pretty clearly didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. So,
Unfortunately, that has been kind of a common theme with the Eastern side. Not a lot of great games. There's been a few, but not many. This next series, Pacers Bucks, Indy up 3-1 with game 5 tonight. We talked about this with Keegan. Giannis has zero help. Dame Lillard went down game 4. Achilles injury. I don't know if it's been official as a torn or what
it has.
It has. Okay. So that series is over.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It is being played right now in NBA.
It is being played right now, and by all indications, it's a damn good game. Wouldn't know, but I mean, it's the Pacers currently have a 5-point lead, and with 8 minutes left in the game, uh, the Knicks just ended the first quarter, so maybe we can put it on. Let's see if we can find it, really quick. I'm not gonna. Yep, it's not showing up. All right, so I guess we're not watching it. But it's probably it's the NBA TV series. It's just a snooze. It's just a complete snooze. Like there are probably some good games in here. I guess game 2, the Pacers won by 8. But it's just a snooze.
Yeah, it's been a boring one. This so let's just move on. Knicks Pistons. Your Knicks are up 3-1, like we just said. End of first quarter. It's like 22-20, something like that. Tanner Cat got going, and he has been the difference maker for this series.
Yeah, without question. I mean, having a big like that who can score the way he can from all over the floor, who can do what he can shooting wise, in addition to being a big man and running a pick and roll with Jalen Brunson. It's a difference maker. I love Cat. He's a perfect fit on this team, and he obviously was crazy down the stretch. When they were down 4, he hit an insane fadeaway baseline with the shot clock running down, and then he hit the 3 off a turnover to take the lead. It was the Cat game for sure. He was magnificent. But obviously, the big story from that game was the no call.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think it was a foul. But if you're in the NBA, why would you come out and say that should have been called?
No idea.
Like,
because I think it probably was a foul, but like that's when you call that every single 3 for the lead or the tie. There's gonna be that double clutch, flailing arm, like I don't know, and it's just such a bad look for the league, though, man. I don't like a critical game in a 2-1 series is decided on a is that a foul versus not a foul, and that's all people can talk about. And then you immediately come out and say, "Oh yeah, that was a foul. We blew that." Like what?
yeah,
I don't know. It's really tough. Obviously, I'm not as diehard in my Knicks fandom as I am in the Vikings and the Mets, but it's just like, man, really?
yeah.
Like it's just I just want to watch my favorite basketball team play a playoff series, and I can't do that just because it's all about the fouls. It's all about the foul baiting. It's just like, come on, man. I just want to watch ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the final one, 2-7, Celtics Magic, Boston up 3-1. Paulo and Fran are freaking awesome. Unfortunately, they ran into what many are considering one of the best in the NBA, and that's basically the storyline for this series.
Yeah, I love this Magic team, man. They're fun. Obviously, you talked about Franz and Paolo, the two best players on this team. They're really fun. I think there was a clip going around of Franz when he drove, he got fouled, and he did the exact opposite of what most people do in the NBA nowadays. Like he just like got up and was like, "Let's go, man!" Like I like drew a foul, made the free throws, got hyped with his team, didn't complain, didn't get like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like it's basketball. You're gonna foul people, and like I don't know. It was a cool clip to see. I like this Magic team. They're fun. They should be good. There are a few pieces missing for sure. They have 2 young players who are damn good and can be a core. They just, unfortunately, they ran into a juggernaut, the Celtics team. And even then, they're putting up a fight, obviously, 3-1.
Yeah, absolutely. But Tanner, let's talk about these. I need your 3 predictions for tonight's game. Knicks, Pistons, Pacers, Bucks, and the Nuggets, Clippers. Who got winning those 3?
You know what? I think we close that at home today. I'm going Knicks. Knicks winning at home. I'm going to go the Pacers closing it out as well at home. I'm going to go the Celtics closing it out at home. But I think the Clippers get a big time win in Denver to take a 3-2 series lead over the Nuggets. What about you?
I'm gonna be right on par with you, man. I like the Clippers taking one in Denver. I think the Pacers gonna wrap it up, and the Knicks as well. But yeah, man, not too different.
Not the most exciting picks out there.
When it's 3-1 in 2 of the
Yeah.
3, it's kind of tough.
And all 3 of the teams who are up 3-1 are at home.
Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, the NBA playoffs, we've had pretty good games, but some really shitty ones. And that's the story of this NBA playoffs so far. We think last thoughts before we wrap it up.
Some really shitty ones at Miami Heat. No, man, I think overall, I think a lot of people are saying like this playoff has been awesome. I've seen a lot of that. I don't agree with that. I've seen a lot of people saying these playoffs suck. This is the worst. I don't agree with that. Like the Nuggets Clippers has been awesome. The Knicks and Pistons have obviously the reffing being a takeaway is really unfortunate, but they've played some really good close games down the stretch. Like I think this has been a fine start to the playoffs, and I just think the coming rounds will just only get better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else to wrap up the pod, man?
I don't think so. I think we got we had a nice variety of things. A lot of different sports going on. Highlighted by the NBA playoffs, where the higher seeds seem to be taking care of business, unless the other team has Steph Curry.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's getting wrapped up for episode 167. Like Tanner said, we talked about a lot in this short episode. Talked about some MLB, some NFL players getting paid, the Bill Belichick and girlfriend weird situation. Talked about the NBA playoffs and of course the NFL Shadur Sanders, Mel Kiper saga. You can follow the podcast on X, Instagram, and TikTok at crunchtime_pod. And make sure to comment, like, and subscribe on YouTube, Crunch Time with the N326 duo. But the clock has run out on this one, but we'll see you on the next one on Crunch Time.
See ya.